Easy. Sam, thanks for joining me, mate. You had an amazing month last month, first month in the program, which we'll jump into a second about, what you did and obviously how you're able to grow, mate. But mate, I'd just love to hear a bit about your business and what you do and sort of how you got to the point of before you jumped in the program, not even a month ago.
Yeah, so before I joined the program, I can't even remember how we started, to be honest. It's that one day we had a conversation, the next I started working on different email flows and stuff. But I think as us as a business, we're very new. We've only been around for a year, and the thing I found challenging was all of these different things that you need to do as an e-commerce business, like Google Ads, Facebook ads, SEO, automated marketing. All of these things are how I work in the tech sector as my main job as well. So understanding how all of those things are constantly changing made me feel uneasy about using different companies for each of those. So for me, it was like, I want to do it myself, but I also need help to understand each of those different things. And having a community has been, I think, the most valuable thing, because we're able to ask what's happening now, what these different things are doing now. So how Facebook ads are changing the algorithms and all this kind of stuff. It's really important to be able to have your finger on the pulse of all that stuff. So starting the journey, I guess, where we are now, just looking at the revenue growth from month to month has just been insane. When we look at where we were in January, for example, to now is just totally different.
Yeah.
And I think just being able to see what we've done and how that can actually be attributed to the revenue. So, it's not just a case of we do things and go, oh, this has worked really well. I think it's like you can see the results, which has been great. So for me personally, it's obviously been mostly around the marketing automation that we've been through to kind of just reach out to our customers and make sure we're always front of mind. Being able to have that all automated across 6 weeks has, I think, just been a game changer, particularly for us, as the sales cycle can be quite long. We're always in the face of that customer, and we can obviously again see the results from that. So even if we just take that one activity that we've done, just that in itself, the revenue that we've achieved from that is just insane. So yeah, I think just being 1 month in, for 6 months, I just have no idea what we're going to look like in 6 months. So I have to prepare
Scary.
myself, I think, to be very busy.
Oh, I mean, it's insane, mate. It's I mean, you've grown to, yeah. I mean, you smashed through that 150K milestone, which I think we had set on like the next 6 months, but you did in like a month, which is incredible. And absolutely, I think the accumulation of introducing a couple of new things, as you said, but really having the idea of what to execute and then going and executing as part of, I guess, the plan and the strategy that's suited to you and I guess what we kind of teach. And that there is a really big difference there, because when people do come in, or when I'm chatting with people, there really is that kind of confusion about what to do next, to do what in what order, what should my business specifically do. And the whole idea, I guess, of coming in is saying, well, yeah, look, we've assessed your business here. This is exactly what you kind of need to do. It's just as simple as following the process, which is amazing. And then to get immediate results from those implementations is incredible, because as I say, it could be just one little tweak, one little dial in that you can get from someone's experience or outsider's kind of perspective sometimes. So man, it's
Yeah,
been awesome. And I've obviously got a long way to go, buddy, in terms of pushing further and harder within your capabilities. So we don't, you don't explode or anything like that. But it's
I think one of the other things as well is like when you look at everything that has to be done, it can seem a bit daunting as well. And you go, I've got so
yeah,
much to do. But I think one of the things that I really valued is, sometimes I think when you want to do a program around this, there can be in the back of your mind, is this going to be a bit more philosophical than practical? Because there's always, there can be a lot of advertising you see around these things, particularly, e-commerce is just a minefield if you're looking at just getting into it, for example. And every time I see videos, I feel like I'm quite a skeptical person anyway. So I always think it's just very philosophical. But what I found was really good was, as I got into the actual training and stuff, it just told me what to do. And I really appreciate that on a black and white level of, you need to do this, you need to do this, and here's how you do it. Not, you should think about how you can do this and then you'll get
yeah,
that. It's actually instructions, but not to the point of, kind of going within a pigeonhole and putting my business in that pigeonhole. It's like, these are the things you have to do, but you have to put your own spin on it, and you're welcome to change things to suit your business, right? So yeah, I think the process just being laid out in front of you is such a big win as well. So knowing what I've got to do next and all of the things that we're going to be doing over the next few months is just, yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, amazing, man. It's been awesome seeing you even just progress. It feels like it has been even longer than it has, but it's just, you know, so super
Feels like years,
exciting.
but in a good way.
It feels a little bit like that. I mean, you're right. You ride the waves. I mean, have you enjoyed being in the community, and have you got value from the community aspect of the program as well?
I'll be honest, when we did like a kind of the introduction of whether the program was right for me and stuff, I don't think we really touched too much on the community side of things. It was more around, these are the things we're going to help you to learn. But I actually think that's been up there, if the same or even more valuable than the actual content of what I've been learning. Having a community of people doing the same things is incredibly powerful, because the reality is we're all doing different, running different businesses, and we're using all these different tools that are always changing. And like I said, my fear was, if I pay a company to do this part of my business, how do I know that that's not going to change in a week's time and that money's wasted, right? Which we've seen from people that are on the program. They say, I spent this much on a Facebook ads company and I got
Yeah,
nothing from it. And
yeah,
that could be, probably will be down to the fact that unless you have your finger on the pulse of how these, big tech companies are changing, and how their algorithms are changing, and how their processes work, and the different strategies you can use are changing, like, you're never going to stay ahead of it all. So
mm,
having a community of people that are actively using it day in, day out is just, you can't really put a price on that. And well, you actually do put a price on it, but when you compare that with what you would spend doing all of those things
mm.
separately and hoping they come together and have some sort of, synchronization and some sort of synergy between everything, is just, in my mind, I don't see how that would ever work.
Yeah,
um the fact I've got 6 months left is mind blowing, right? For
mm,
what we paid to be part of this program. I just think, you know, every day I'm seeing people comment and contribute to things that they're doing, that you think, oh,
mm.
we can definitely do something like that. So even just the value from that is just, yeah, I think the main value of the actual program.
I love that, mate. And that is definitely a common response in terms of, you know, people feel, because they've done it for so long and been in isolation, kind of doing things on their own. Certainly the one-to-one support from me is what they probably come into. And then they do realize that the community is, you know, collectively much smarter than me and more experienced combined than me. But absolutely knowing what other people are going through, seeing those people even steps above you or even below you that you can obviously share insights into, or have experiences in different elements. You know, for those that don't have business partners, for example, they're doing everything. They have weaknesses and strengths, but if somebody in the community has the strengths of their weaknesses, you can kind of almost trade skills. You know, it's extremely valuable. And to, as you say, know what's happening with these people's ads, these people's ads, these people's ads. This week was up, this week was down, you know, to know what's normal, and obviously how can something can be, you know, improved in the business. So yeah,
Yeah,
the
because you're
community
very,
is,
it's very unlikely that you're going to have someone that understands, right? Like, running an e-commerce business is pretty, unique, and
yeah.
people don't understand all of that stuff. You go down the wormhole yourself and you figure it all out. But, you know, for people being in the exact same boat as you is just, yeah, very powerful. And like I said, I think that's where a lot of the value comes from. And just as well, for these things, being able to just ask and say, I need help with this, or this doesn't work, or I don't understand what I'm doing with this, and people obviously willing to help each other out, is just, again, I think that's where you get most of the value. And then aside of that, you've got all of the practical things that you're putting in place. And when you put it all together, yeah, I think it's just an absolute no brainer. And particularly when, me personally, I've spent, um, you know, various different things that we've done with marketing that have proved to be totally useless, to be honest.
Mhm.
That money can, when I think about what we get from this program, is just, yeah, is incomparable really, in terms of what the return is, which is ultimately what people want, right? So
Yeah.
just to be able to see that, and track that and see exactly what's working and what's not, is just great.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And that's definitely, you know, my aim and my vision and my mission is to be able to provide so much exponential more value in the program, and to help obviously you guys grow. That just gives me absolute, you know, pleasure. And to arm you with those skills that you are self-sufficient and have just confidence with every area of the business is is my number one priority. So yeah, I mean, that's awesome, mate. I really appreciate you sharing your experience. I mean, what would you sort of say to people who are potentially where you were, I mean, even 6 weeks ago, kind of either looking for help or, you know, a little bit lost? I mean, if you can kind of recall back that time ago, like what would you sort of say to people, you know, where you were sort of 6 weeks ago?
Before I joined the call, I actually just finished a call with someone that I work with in the same industry who has the same kind of business online, and we actually spoke about some of this stuff, and he was very keen. And you know, there's a referral scheme for you as well.
There you go.
But it's funny that we spoke about all of what basically we've just talked about, and he said, like, I've never really thought of it in that way, because we have companies that do this and we have companies that do that. And I said, you know, how do they all work together? Like, how do you know this? You know, obviously this is a bit of a wormhole you can go down, but I kind of just said to him, how do you really know that all of these things are going to be working together, and you kind of know what's actually happening, instead of going, I have a company that deal with that, when they don't really know your company. They just do the same thing for everyone else and assume that the same strategy works, which isn't the case. So yeah, I think I actually said to him, you know, I really think this program would be beneficial. I could, when I tell people the results, yeah, it's just a no-brainer that is clearly defined in the data. It shows that this works. And I've been surprised when I see stuff come through from customers, and I'm like, how did this convert into this, when, you know, previously that was never happening? These certain things that I'm noticing with customers where the behaviors are different, and all of that is off the back of all the automation, for example. Like, these things wouldn't have happened before, because I'm noticing them and going, oh, that's weird. This customer's come back to me off the back of this email that I wouldn't have sent before.
Yeah.
Whereas now that's fully automated, and I just get to reap the rewards of that automation, and just focus on what we do, and yeah, talk about simulators. So it just kind of takes all of that manual element out of it that I was always dreading. Being able to automate stuff again is what every company does, and that's why it can be daunting. But yeah, when you get into it, and you, like I said, the clear definitive instructions on how to actually do this stuff is, yeah, what I found managed to get me where I am within, you know, a month, which I still don't
Yeah.
really believe.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. I mean, like, thank you so much for sharing that. Hopefully that does give some people some clarity, and I guess just some understanding of you know what it kind of does take, because yeah, it is. I always say entrepreneurship in general is pretty isolating, even though we're connected in so many ways. It's easy to feel isolated and alone, but yeah, especially that community aspect. So thanks so much for sharing, man. Congrats on your success so far, and dude, it's just the
No
beginning. I can
problem.
assure you of that. You know, so thanks,
Thank
man.
you.
Appreciate you.